Part 1, The Stray Who Drew Blood. No one knew where the dog came from. He wasn't large. Maybe a little skinny. But he had sharp eyes and a coat like burnt caramel. He walked with a limp, and no collar hung from his neck. The first time people noticed him was when he bit a man outside City Hall. It was a warm Tuesday morning, and the man had just stepped out of a black car. He wore a navy suit, polished shoes, and held a briefcase tight under his arm. He didn't even see the dog until it lunged and bit him on the leg. The bite wasn't deep, but it drew blood. The man screamed. The dog didn't growl or bark. Just stood there, staring at him like he knew exactly what he was doing. Then, before anyone could catch him, the dog vanished between parked cars. City workers rushed out. One of them, a woman named Clara, helped the man sit down. Someone called for animal control. But by the time they arrived, the dog was gone. The story made it into the local newspaper. The headline read, "Stray dog attacks government official outside City Hall." They called him dangerous, vicious, a public threat. But people who had seen the bite said something strange. The dog hadn't gone after kids, or garbage men, or tourists. Only that man in the suit. Most people forgot about it after a few days. But then it happened again. A week later, a different man in a gray suit was walking down the same street. Same time. Same kind of briefcase. He was talking on his phone when the caramel-colored dog ran out and bit his ankle, then disappeared. Now it wasn't just a story. It was a pattern. The city called for a full search. "We need this dog caught," the mayor said. "This is a safety issue." Flyers went up. Traps were set. Dog catchers roamed the streets. But they never caught him. Instead, the bites kept happening. Once a week, like clockwork. And always the same kind of man, tall, dressed in a suit, usually holding something expensive. Nobody in jeans. Nobody carrying groceries. Only the ones who looked like they worked behind desks. The people began to talk. Whispers started in the cafes, barber shops, and bus stops. Why is the dog biting only men in suits? Is it trained? Revenge. Someone must have hurt him once. But no one had answers. And more strangely, the dog never bit women. Never barked at children. Even played with the mailman once, wagging his tail like a regular pet. Some began to call him a hero. They gave him a name, the Whistlehowler. They said when he growled, it sounded more like a whistle through broken teeth. Kids began drawing pictures of him. Someone made a fan page online. Others were scared. One councilman suggested calling in animal control from the next city. "We need to put this mutt down," he said, "before someone important gets hurt." But the Whistlehowler kept vanishing before they arrived. Like he knew when danger was coming. On the edge of town, just past the park, lived a girl named Mia. She was 16, quiet, and loved animals more than people. Every evening after school, she walked home past the alley behind the bakery. That's where she first saw him. He was sniffing an old pizza box. She froze. It was him. The dog from the news. He looked at her. She looked back. She slowly pulled a biscuit from her lunchbox and held it out. He took it gently, then turned and vanished behind the dumpsters. The next day, he was there again. She gave him another biscuit. By the end of the week, he was waiting for her. Mia didn't tell anyone. Not her mom. Not her friends. She started saving extra lunch for him. Chicken, eggs, toast crusts. She talked to him while he ate. Called him buddy. He never barked. Just listened with those serious eyes. One evening, as she fed him, she asked softly, "Why do you hate the suits?" He tilted his head, like he understood. Meanwhile, back at City Hall, the mayor was furious. 4 attacks in 3 weeks. Always the same kind of victim. This isn't random. It's targeted. The local police had nothing. He's a stray. Smart one. Avoids cameras. Changes hiding spots. But then came the bite that changed everything. It happened at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. A crowd had gathered outside a new tech building. Cameras flashed. Reporters stood ready. The mayor was about to speak. That's when the Whistlehowler appeared from nowhere and bit the mayor's aide hard. People screamed. The aide fell back. Blood stained his sock. The dog didn't flee this time. He just stood there, staring at the mayor, eyes locked. Then he turned and ran. It was on every news channel that night. Stray dog attacks top city official. Again. Urban menace or mysterious guardian. Animal control tripled efforts. New traps were set. One even had fried chicken and bacon. But Buddy didn't fall for any of it. Mia began to worry. She brought him food earlier in the day, hoping he was still safe. "I don't know why you bite those men," she whispered, sitting cross-legged on the alley floor. "But I believe you're doing it for a reason." Buddy laid his head on her shoe. Then one day, Mia followed him. He ate quickly, then trotted away. She grabbed her bag and walked quietly behind, keeping her distance. He didn't go to the park or the streets. He weaved through alleys until he reached a tall gray building. Mia paused. It was the city contractor's office. The one in charge of new roads, buildings, and public funds. The same office where every bitten man had once worked. Buddy sat across the street, staring at the entrance. Watching. Waiting. Mia's hands went cold. She didn't know it yet, but she had just uncovered the first thread in a much larger story. A story about corruption. About secrets. About a dog who remembered more than anyone thought possible. A dog who had seen too much. And had chosen to fight back. In the only way he could. Part 2. The suits start falling. Mia couldn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Why was Buddy watching that office building? Why did he only bite men in suits? And why did they all seem connected to the city's construction projects? The next day after school, she skipped her usual route. Instead, she walked downtown, past City Hall, and toward the building Buddy had stared at. The sign outside read, Roth and Crane City Contracting Urban Development Division. She didn't know much about the government. But she remembered a few names from the newsmen in suits who had been bitten. Every one of them worked for this department. She stood across the street, pretending to text on her phone, and watched. Cars came and went. Men in ties walked in and out. Mia noticed something odd. They all seemed nervous, checking over their shoulders, hurrying to their cars. At lunch, she snuck into the city library and searched the internet. She typed, Roth and Crane contractor scandal. Nothing. Corruption construction City Hall. Still nothing solid. Then she searched the name of one of the men Buddy had bitten. A headline popped up from 2 years ago. Councilman J. Tate cleared of ethics violation after missing evidence in bribery case. Her heart skipped. She checked the next name. City engineer M. Dalton questioned over bridge collapse, no charges filed. And another. Audit delays investigation into contractor bonuses, no internal paper trail found. It was all there, hiding in plain sight. Every man Buddy bit had been part of a past scandal, cases that mysteriously went cold or disappeared from headlines. It wasn't random. Buddy remembered their faces. Maybe he'd seen them before, maybe he'd been there. That evening, Mia found Buddy waiting behind the bakery, sitting in the usual spot. She fed him half a cheese sandwich and sat next to him. His eyes were sharp, like always, but this time, she noticed a scar above one of them. Faint. Old. Maybe from long ago. She gently touched his fur. "Did they hurt you, Buddy?" she whispered. He didn't move. She made a decision. The next morning, Mia printed everything she'd found: old news articles, clipped headlines, city budget screenshots. She hid it in her backpack, then walked to City Hall. She wasn't sure what she was going to do, but something inside her knew she had to speak up. In the lobby, she asked the receptionist if she could talk to someone about corruption. The woman raised an eyebrow. "How old are you?" 16, Mia said. "But I have proof." A few minutes later, she was sitting across from a woman named Clara, the same one who had helped the first bitten man. Clara had kind eyes. She wore jeans and a button-up shirt, not a suit. And she listened. Mia told her everything. About Buddy, the alley, the building he watched, the news stories. Clara didn't laugh. She didn't even look surprised. Instead, she nodded slowly. "You're not the first person to say something strange is going on," she said. "But you're the first to bring a pattern. Especially involving that dog." "You believe me?" Mia asked. "I've worked here for 10 years, Clara said. I've seen money vanish from budgets. Projects delayed without reason. But people are scared to talk." She stood up. "Come with me." Clara took Mia to a small storage room behind her office. She locked the door behind them. Inside were old filing cabinets and boxes of records. "I kept copies," Clara whispered, "of everything they tried to erase." They opened boxes filled with papers, construction permits, contracts, payment logs, audit notices. Clara pointed to several names: Tate, Dalton, Harper, all people Buddy had bitten. "They took kickbacks," she said. "Approved projects that were unsafe. Took bribes to cover failed inspections. One of those projects collapsed. A small housing block." Mia's eyes widened. "Were people hurt?" "2 workers died," Clara said softly. "And 1 dog." Mia froze. "What?" she whispered. "The workers had a dog on site," Clara said. "They said he was like their mascot. Loyal. Friendly. He barked before the beams gave way. Saved some people. But he didn't make it out." Mia's breath caught. Clara pulled out an old photo. It was blurry, printed on office paper, but it showed a dog with caramel-colored fur. "That's him," Mia said. "That's Buddy." Clara looked shocked. "But this photo's from 3 years ago." It didn't make sense. Was it possible the dog had survived? Or was he something more? A survivor? Or a ghost who wouldn't rest? Either way, Mia knew now he wasn't just biting at random. He was demanding justice. The next day, another bite happened. This time, the victim was a project manager who had signed off on the collapsed housing unit. The news covered it, but the story had changed. Instead of calling the dog dangerous, people online started saying things like, "The dog knows. He's biting the corrupt. We should be helping him." The city tried to control the narrative. A new police task force was formed. They called it Operation Leash. Mia and Clara knew it was only a matter of time before they'd go too far. "We have to move fast," Clara said, "before they silence everything." That night, Clara and Mia met secretly in the bakery's storage room. Buddy was there, tail wagging slightly when he saw Mia. Clara showed her something new, a list of recently approved contracts worth millions. The same department. The same people. "Tomorrow morning," Clara said. "There's a meeting. All of them in one room." Mia's eyes narrowed. "Then that's when we show the truth." What they didn't know was that someone had already seen them. A man in a black car had been following Mia. And that man wore a suit. He spoke into a phone. "Yeah, we've got a problem. The girl's digging. And she has the mutt." A pause. "Do I need to take care of it?" Another pause. Then a low answer from the other side. "Make sure neither of them talks." Part 3. The Girl with the Biscuit. Mia noticed the black car the next morning. It was parked across from her school gate. Windows tinted, engine off. It didn't belong to anyone she knew. She glanced once, then again. The man inside didn't look at her. But she felt it, he was watching. She hurried inside and stayed in the library during lunch. She didn't eat. Her stomach was full of nerves. When the final bell rang, Mia didn't take her usual route. She slipped out through the back field and cut through alleys until she reached the bakery. Buddy wasn't there. She waited. 10 minutes. 15. Then she heard a faint whistle. Not from a person. A soft, broken howl, carried on the breeze. She turned. Buddy was sitting behind the bins, where he always waited. But this time, he was limping worse than usual. One of his paws was bleeding. Mia rushed over. What happened? He didn't flinch when she touched the paw. She tore a strip from her shirt and tied it gently. You followed me again, didn't you? She whispered. You saw the car too? Buddy blinked slowly, that familiar understanding in his eyes. Then Mia heard a voice. You shouldn't be out this late, sweetheart. She turned. The man from the car. He wore a black coat, but underneath, she saw the familiar dark gray suit and polished shoes. His eyes were calm but cold. Mia stood up slowly, heart racing. I was just feeding a dog. The man smiled without warmth. A dangerous one. You've seen what he's done. It's not safe. He's only bitten people like you. That made him pause. I don't want any trouble, he said. But the mayor's office is very concerned. This dog is hurting the city's image. He's revealing the truth, Mia said. The man stepped closer. Buddy growled. I'm asking nicely, girl. Stop feeding him. Stop digging. Or people will start to think you're involved. Buddy lunged. The man stepped back fast, but not fast enough. Buddy didn't bite this time, he just stood between Mia and the man, teeth bared. The man raised his hands and backed away. Fine. Have it your way. But be careful. He turned and walked off into the dark. Mia's knees went weak. She sat down beside Buddy, hands shaking. They know, she whispered. They're scared of you. Later that night, Mia called Clara using a payphone. They followed me, she said. They're watching? Clara didn't hesitate. Come to my house. Bring Buddy if you can. Clara lived in a small house on the edge of town. When Mia arrived with Buddy, she opened the door quickly and pulled them inside. Clara had been busy. Her dining table was covered in papers, folders, and highlighters. There were red circles around city names, timelines of contracts, and connections Mia had never seen before. They moved up the meeting. Clara said, tomorrow morning, they're voting on another payout. Millions. If we don't stop them now. Mia looked at Buddy. He sat beside the fireplace, licking his paw, but watching them closely. We stop them, Mia said. Clara nodded. We'll bring this to the local paper. I know a reporter who doesn't scare easily. If we show them the documents, the story will go public before the meeting even starts. That night, Mia lay on Clara's couch. Buddy lay on the rug beside her. She reached into her bag and pulled out a biscuit. Her last one. She broke it in half and offered him a piece. You saved me tonight, she whispered. He took the biscuit gently from her hand and rested his head against her leg. I wish I knew what happened to you, she said. Who hurt you? His eyes closed slowly. Like he understood. And maybe he did. The dream came suddenly. Mia was standing in the middle of a half-built housing site. Wind howled. Steel beams groaned above her. Men shouted warnings. Then cracks. Screams. Dust. And a dog barking. Barking with everything it had. Barking until the noise stopped. When she woke, she was crying. The next morning, Clara and Mia packed the evidence into a binder. They drove across town to the newspaper office. A reporter named Grant met them at the back entrance. He looked tired but sharp. Clara explained everything while Mia sat quietly with Buddy at her feet. When Grant saw the photo of the collapsed housing project, he froze. I remember this, he said. 2 dead workers. A missing dog. I tried to investigate, but someone shut it down. Now the dog's back, Mia said. Grant turned to her. He's back, and taking names. He looked at Buddy, then at the files. I'll run the story. Today, an hour later, while Clara and Mia waited in a cafe, the article went live. Whistlehowler, stray dog bites may be tied to corruption cover UPS. It spread fast. First social media, then radio, then national attention. People shared their own stories: unsafe buildings, missing money, ignored complaints. The mayor's office went silent. The city meeting was postponed. That night, Clara's house was quiet, but the tension in the air was heavy. Mia looked at her phone. Hundreds of messages. People calling the dog a hero. The whistlehowler had become a symbol. A symbol of truth. A symbol of justice. But Mia felt uneasy. If they know we're exposing them, she said to Clara, what if they come after you? They might, Clara said. But now the world is watching. Mia looked at Buddy. He was at the door, growling. The window shattered. A masked man burst in. Another behind him. One grabbed Clara. The other reached for the binder. Mia screamed. Buddy flew across the room. He tackled one man to the ground, teeth snapping, growling louder than Mia had ever heard. The man swung wildly, kicking, but Buddy held on. Clara broke free, grabbing a chair and hitting the second man. He dropped the folder and fled. The first man, bleeding from the arm, finally threw Buddy off and ran through the back door. Silence. Mia collapsed to her knees. Clara grabbed the folder. Buddy limped over, sides heaving, fur streaked with blood, some his, some not. You protected us again, Mia whispered. Clara was already calling the police. We have everything now, she said. And now we have witnesses. By the next morning, the mayor had resigned. 3 officials were arrested. More investigations opened. But Buddy was missing. He had slipped out during the chaos, leaving behind only bloodstains and a half-eaten biscuit. Mia searched for days. She put up flyers, asked shopkeepers, sat behind the bakery with food. But he didn't return. Some said he was done, that his mission was over. Some said he was a ghost from the past, finally set free. But Mia believed he was still out there, watching, waiting, and biting anyone who thought a suit could hide the truth. Part 4, City Hall Skeletons. The town didn't sleep that night. News vans parked outside City Hall. Reporters shouted questions as men in suits walked quickly with their heads down. Police tape covered the side entrance. For the first time in years, the old building looked shaken. Inside, investigators combed through records. Laptops were taken. Hard drives copied. And Clara, brave, calm Clara, stood before a city ethics board and told the truth. Every piece of paper, every signature, every ignored complaint. She had kept it all, quietly, carefully. Until now, Mia watched it all unfold from home, her phone buzzing every few seconds with messages. People were calling her brave. Some even called her a hero. But she didn't feel like one. Not without Buddy. It had been 4 days. No sightings. No paw prints. Nothing. She walked past the bakery again. Left his favorite snack by the dumpster. Waited for the whistle in the wind. But it never came. The mayor had resigned. 3 department heads were arrested. But the city wasn't done cleaning house. New files surfaced. Old ones that had been misplaced. An entire storage room in the records department had been locked for years. When they broke it open, they found boxes of evidence. Contracts, bribes, project plans written in pencil to avoid leaving digital trails. At the center of it all, Roth and Crane, the development firm Buddy had watched every week. The same firm behind the housing collapse 3 years ago. A reporter named Grant invited Mia to the station. He wanted her on live TV. At first, she said no. She didn't like attention. She didn't want to be famous. She just wanted her friend back. But Clara convinced her. You've already changed the city, she said. Now help change more. Mia sat in the studio chair, her hands cold and stiff. Lights glowed above her. A camera blinked red. Grant smiled gently. So, Mia, you met the dog they call the Whistlehowler. She nodded. I called him Buddy. And you believe he remembered the people behind the building collapse? I know he did. Why? She took a deep breath. Because dogs remember kindness. And they remember pain. He wasn't angry at everyone. Just those people. The ones who let others suffer. The ones who made others disappear. Grant leaned forward. What would you say to the people who think it's all just coincidence? Mia looked straight at the camera. I'd say, coincidence doesn't leave bite marks shaped like justice. The clip went viral overnight. 16-year-old girl and vigilante dog expose corruption. The Whistlehowler, is this dog more than just a hero? People across the country shared it. And something amazing began to happen. Other towns began looking into their own scandals. Other city halls reopened investigations. People started asking questions again. And in the middle of it all, was a stray dog no one could catch. In a small town 2 hours away, a man was being escorted into court for bribery charges. As he stepped out of a black car in a suit and tie, a caramel-colored dog ran past the cameras and bit him, then vanished. A week later, a crooked building inspector in another city was ambushed outside his home. Same dog, same bite. People started calling it a movement. A symbol. Whistlehowler graffiti appeared on walls, simple art of a dog howling with a briefcase in its mouth. T-shirts, stickers, even street murals. But Mia didn't care about any of that. She just wanted her friend back. Then, one rainy night, she heard it. A soft whistle. Broken. Like wind through cracked glass. She ran outside, heart pounding. The alley was dark. The street lamp flickered. And there he was. Wet. Thin. Limping. But standing tall. "Buddy," she whispered. He walked to her, slow and tired, but eyes full of fire. She dropped to her knees. "I missed you." He leaned into her chest, soaking her hoodie. She didn't cry, not then. But her hands shook as she held him. Clara came running too. "You found him," she said, out of breath. "He found me," Mia replied. They took him home. Cleaned his wounds. Fed him warm food. He didn't bark. He never barked. But when he curled up beside Mia's bed and sighed, it was like the whole city exhaled with him. Weeks passed. Investigations turned into arrests. Corrupt leaders lost their jobs. Honest ones were elected. The city changed. And Buddy stayed with Mia. Some days, he still limped. Some days, he'd disappear for hours. But he always came back. And sometimes, just sometimes, Mia would find bite marks on newsworthy ankles, and knew justice was still being served. But then came the letter. A legal one. From the city's legal office. They wanted Buddy turned over to animal control for aggression evaluation. The same people who once ignored his warning now wanted him caged. Mia crumpled the paper. "They want to silence him again," she told Clara. "They can't," Clara said. "Not anymore. Too many people love him now. We just have to show them." And so, they prepared for a fight. Not in alleys. Not with teeth. But with truth. With public pressure. With media. With stories that made hearts listen. Part 5, The Trial of the Whistlehowler. The letter from the city was clear. The animal known as the Whistlehowler must be surrendered within 5 days to City Animal Services for aggression review. Failure to comply will result in legal action. Mia read it again and again. Each time, it hit harder. Buddy, her friend, her protector, was being treated like a criminal. Like he hadn't saved people. Like he hadn't changed the city. Like he hadn't ripped the mask off every lie those men had built. He wasn't a threat. He was justice on 4 legs. And they were trying to put him in a cage. Clara called everyone she knew. Lawyers. Reporters. Activists. She even spoke with Grant from the news station. "We're going to fight this publicly," Clara said. "They won't take him quietly." They scheduled a public hearing at City Hall. The city claimed it was standard procedure after several documented bites. But Mia knew the truth. "They're embarrassed," she told Clara. "He showed the world who they really were." The night before the hearing, Mia sat with Buddy on her bedroom floor. Rain tapped the windows. Thunder rolled in the distance. She looked into his tired, deep eyes. "They don't get to decide who you are," she whispered. He rested his head on her lap. His paw twitched in sleep, like he was chasing something. Or remembering something. Maybe both. The next morning, a crowd gathered outside City Hall. People carried signs. "The dog who protected us. Biting back isn't a crime. Whistlehowler hero." News vans lined the streets. Live streams ran online. Hashtags trended again. Mia walked up the courthouse steps with Buddy beside her. His fur was combed. He wore no collar. But he walked proud, like he knew this moment mattered. Inside, the chamber was full. The city attorney stood stiff in a gray suit. He looked tired, uncomfortable. The mayor's replacement. A woman this time, younger, elected just 2 weeks earlier. Watched quietly from the front row. The judge, an older man with clear eyes, called the hearing to order. The city attorney began. This dog, known publicly as the Whistlehowler, has bitten at least 6 individuals, each a government employee. While the city acknowledges recent revelations regarding misconduct, we cannot condone vigilante behavior, even from an animal. Safety protocols must apply equally. He sat down. Polite silence. Then Clara stood. And everything changed. She didn't read from notes. She told stories. About the buildings that almost fell. About the workers who died. About the bribes and cover UPS and how no one listened. Until the dog made them listen. Then she showed the photographs. The documents. The scars. Emotional and physical. That the city had ignored for years. Finally, she played a short video. A clip of Mia, on the news, saying, "Coincidence doesn't leave bite marks shaped like justice." The room went quiet. Then Mia stood. She was shaking, but her voice was steady. "I didn't train him. I didn't teach him to bite suits. He knew. Somehow, he always knew." She looked at the judge. "I don't know if he remembers the collapse, or the pain, or the people who let it happen. But I know this, he never bit the wrong person." Tears welled in her eyes. Buddy didn't break the city. He helped fix it. She sat down. The room was silent again. Then, from the back, a voice spoke. "I was one of the men he bit." Heads turned. A man stood. Tall, in a dark blue suit, with a bandaged hand. He walked to the front. "I was part of the Roth and Crane deal," he said. "I signed off on fake inspections. I took money. I thought I'd never get caught." He looked at Buddy. "When he bit me, I knew why. And I didn't tell anyone. I knew I deserved it." The crowd murmured. "I'm ready to face prison now, but he shouldn't face a cage." The judge listened, watched, took notes. Then he spoke. "I've served this city for 40 years. And I've seen justice come in many forms." He paused. This one came with a limp and a growl. The courtroom chuckled softly. He looked at Mia. "I will not order the seizure or removal of this dog. He is not a danger to the public. He is, in fact, a public servant in his own right." He banged the gavel. "Case dismissed." The room erupted in applause. Buddy barked once. Loud and clear for the first time in weeks. And Mia smiled through her tears. That night, the city lights seemed a little warmer. People left flowers and biscuits at the bakery alley where it all began. A statue was commissioned. Of a dog mid-howl, tail raised, ears alert. It stood in front of City Hall within 3 months, cast in bronze, with a plaque beneath it. The Whistlehowler, he bit the truth into the light. Mia and Buddy returned to their quiet life. He slept beside her bed every night. Limped a little less with each passing week. Barked more often now. When the mail came, when birds landed on the window, when she laughed. Sometimes, on full moons, he'd disappear for an hour or 2. Mia never asked where. She just waited. Because she knew, wherever there was injustice hiding behind suits and lies, Buddy would find it. And bite it clean open. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey through this wonderful tale. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who loves mystical tales. And don't forget to subscribe to The Real Furry Stories for more unforgettable stories of love, loss, and the bonds that never die. Until next time, may your lanterns always stay lit. Hearty goodbye.